Carnival Cruise Line has officially welcomed a new ship into its fleet. Princess's next Sphere-class ship has officially been christened, while their second one is being delayed 2 months. Norwegian Cruise Line's first Prima Plus-class ship had its floating out ceremony, and one line gets its first new ship in over a decade. Plus, 2 passengers go missing in the British Virgin Islands. Ahoy travelers, it's Amy here with your weekly Cruise News Roundup and my thoughts on some of the biggest stories of the week. The Carnival Firenze had its official naming ceremony this week in Long Beach, California. The ship's godfather, actor Jonathan Bennett, and the ship's master captain, Enzo Palomba, poured champagne over the ship's bell to christen the vessel. Now, does this mean that we're getting away from smashing giant champagne bottles onto the bows of ships? But anyway, you may be wondering who exactly is Jonathan Bennett. Now, fans of Mean Girls may recognize him, but since that movie is now 20 years old, yes, you may be more likely to recognize him from his more recent work as a performer in Hallmark Christmas movies. Now, most recently, he starred in a controversial Hallmark Christmas movie that featured Bennett as part of a gay couple. Now, that's how I recognized him, since the controversy made the rounds on social media as several of Hallmark's biggest stars subsequently left the network. So Bennett really doesn't have quite the star power of some of Carnival's other recent choices, like the Jubilee's godmother, Gwen Stefani. The Firenze will sail year-round from California with various itineraries. As part of Carnival's new fun Italian-style program, the ship went through some renovations to transform it from a Costa ship into a Carnival ship, including adding venues popular with Carnival cruisers. This officially brings Carnival's fleet back up to 27 ships after they sold off several of the older ships during the shutdown. Now, while I would like to eventually try out one of Carnival's fun Italian-style ships, it's unlikely to be the Firenze, as my desire to travel to California is almost zero. Nor are there any itineraries out of California that would really entice me to do that. I would be more likely to head up the East Coast and do a fall foliage cruise on the Venezia. A New England cruise during the fall, now that is high on my bucket list. So what about you? Which of these new to Carnival ships would you be most likely to try out? This week saw another new ship being christened, as Princess's first Sphere-class ship, the Sun Princess, was officially christened in a ceremony in Barcelona. Now, while the ship has already been sailing for around 2 months, this is not unusual. Naming ceremonies are often occurring a month, 2 months after the inaugural sailing. So the ceremony occurred while the ship was in port, with actor and magician Michael Carbonaro as the master of ceremonies. I'm not familiar with him. Several celebrities were in attendance, including former supermodel Tyra Banks. I do know who she is. And then several of the original Love Boat cast members, including the actors that played Vicky Stubing, Isaac, and Doc. The Sun Princess's godmother is award-winning British actress Hannah Waddingham. She is known for her role in the popular series Game of Thrones, and more recently in Apple's hit series Ted Lasso. Now, she joins the esteemed ranks of other princess godmothers like Princess Diana, Princess Kate, along with actresses Audrey Hepburn and Sophia Loren. Just like the Sun Princess, the next ship expected to be launched by Princess will also see delays. Princess Cruises, along with the shipbuilder Fincantieri, announced this week that the Star Princess will not be delivered in July of 2025 as originally planned. The new delivery date is expected to be late in September 2025. The line has had to cancel the first 9 sailings. After reviewing upcoming construction milestones for the ship, both the cruise line and the builder agreed it's just not going to be possible to deliver the ship on that expected timeline while maintaining the quality that they wanted to put out. In a statement, Princess Cruises president John Paget said, quote, "Despite our collective dedication and relentless pursuit to deliver the ship in late July, it has become evident that additional time is required to ensure the Star Princess is delivered to the highest standards expected by our guests." Now, guests booked on the now canceled sailings have been given several options. They can either rebook on alternative Princess voyages on any ship sailing anywhere in the world, including future sailings of the Star Princess, or her sister ship, the Sun Princess. If guests do rebook, they will receive future cruise credits and onboard credit. Exact amounts are going to vary based on the original canceled bookings, and as well as alternative cruise selected. So if your next cruise is more, I don't know exactly how they're going to work all that out, but they've got some algorithm, I'm sure. Guests can also choose to cancel their booking and then receive a full refund. So for those who like to collect inaugural cruises, I wonder if some of them may have found themselves losing out on both the Sun Princess and the Star Princess, since both pushed back those original sail dates. Also, this is one reason why I do not book inaugural cruises. Now, have you ever been on an inaugural cruise? How did it go for you? A major moment in the life of a new cruise ship is when it first touches water in its float-out ceremony. So the Norwegian Aqua, the first Prima Plus-class ship, had its float-out ceremony as it left its dry dock at the shipyard in Marghera, Italy. As part of the ceremony, 2 coins were welded into Norwegian Aqua as part of the maritime tradition, historically symbolizing an offering to the ancient gods and goddesses of the sea in exchange for good luck and safe passage for the vessel. The ceremony was followed by a blessing by a local chaplain and celebratory champagne breaking across the ship's hull. At 156,300 gross tons and a length that spans 1,056 feet, Norwegian Aqua will be 10% larger than the first 2 Prima class vessels. So President of Norwegian Cruise Line, David Herrera, stated that building upon the guest favored features of the award-winning vessels of this class, the 10% increase in space provides us with more flexibility to deliver more offerings and more beautifully designed venues for our guests to relax and explore on board the Norwegian Aqua. I have a feeling not all that 10% though is going to be dedicated to venues, but probably to cabin space because that's where the money comes. Expected to debut in April of next year, the Norwegian Aqua will home port out of Port Canaveral, at least at first, with itineraries that include the Dominican Republic, British Virgin Islands, St. Thomas and the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Great Stirrup Cay. The ship will then reposition to New York in the fall. Another big milestone in a ship's life is the handover ceremony. One Line had their first in over a decade. Before we get to that story, if you enjoy this video and maybe even learn something, consider subscribing with the notification bell on so you don't miss out on any future posts. Now, set to enter service in early May, Cunard's highly anticipated new Queen Anne was delivered to the line in a handover ceremony at Fincantieri's Marghera shipyard near Venice. Now, this will be the first new ship for Cunard since the Queen Elizabeth entered service in 2010. In a statement, President Katie McAllister said, "We are so excited to welcome Queen Anne to our fleet as she completes a remarkable quartet alongside Queen Mary II, Queen Elizabeth, and Queen Victoria, marking the first time since 1999 that Cunard will have all 4 ships in simultaneous service. We are now fully focused on readying her to welcome guests for her maiden voyage on 3 May, before she embarks on a historic British Isles Festival voyage, including a momentous naming ceremony in Cunard's spiritual home of Liverpool on 3 June. Gotta love how British say their dates. Following her naming ceremony, Queen Anne will home port in Southampton and sail a variety of cruises to the Western Mediterranean, Canary Islands, Norwegian fjords, Scandinavia, and Northern Europe. Now, have you ever sailed on a Cunard ship? It's supposed to be a very British experience. I would love to sail on one at some point in the future. For me, it would probably be the Queen Mary II, as it's the last ocean liner to sail the seas. I would definitely like to get on there for a transatlantic at some point. Now, our last story of the week is a little different. The rest of all have been about new ship builds and stuff like that, but I did want to touch on this. So on April 19th, 2 passengers went missing from the Norwegian sky when they did not return to the ship after it had ported in Tortola for the day. Now, Pascal Bozeman of the Netherlands and Martir Cabrera of the Dominican Republic were both reported as missing when they failed to return to the ship, and authorities are asking for assistance from the public in locating the men. It's unknown if the men knew each other, and so far, no foul play is really expected. But officials do believe the circumstances raise some concerns, as neither has made any known contact nor shown activity that would indicate that their whereabouts in any way. Cabrera is noted to be carrying a St. Kitts and Nevis passport, and that's added some additional elements of urgency to the search. I don't know why, but apparently it does. In the days since, they've not been seen nor have they been recorded leaving the island by any other legal means, so no air travel. The Royal Virgin Islands Police Force and the Department of Immigration are leading the search and have issued contact numbers for the public to report any information that may assist in locating these two men. Now, I'm going to leave that contact information in the description below in case you're in the area, you see them. While this is not a situation we see often, it does happen. There are situations when guests are just late to the port and are located quickly. But there have also been instances of foreign nationals attempting to illegally migrate to another country via cruise ship. They just get off the ship and never return back. Then there are those rare cases where a cruise ship passenger meets with some sort of foul play while at port. Then recently we had a story of an elderly man with dementia who went missing in Cozumel after failing to return back to the Icon of the Seas. And despite exhaustive search efforts, he was never located. Well, I hope everyone has had a great couple of weeks. It's nice to be back. I did enjoy the short break. Now let me know in the comments if there are any topics you'd like to hear about or any cruise questions you might have, and maybe I'll make a video about it in the future. Well, are you ready for more information on cruising? Why not stick around and check out this video and then come back for more information designed to help you have an amazing cruise. Have a blessed week, everyone.